Welcome to our Everything Permanent Makeup podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today. And our guest, Magdalena Stewart. Can you tell us who you are, what's your name, and where you're from?
I sure can. So as you already mentioned my name, Magdalena, but everybody just go by Magda. A new PMU artist. As of right now, I do offer only brows. I am working on getting my lips also going, as well as the eyeliner. I've been in this business for a little over a year.
How you can change their life with this treatment and why you decided to learn it.
Well, that can change somebody's life tremendously. And I've seen people walking out with the biggest smile on their faces, give them a whole lot of new perspective for that they don't have to worry about spending 10 minutes in the morning or more. I remember myself used to spending probably 15 minutes trying to figure how to draw the brows, and they never turned out really great at the end. So anybody would look at me and know that I had a makeup, that I had my brows basically made with a pencil, which was not only not pretty, but it was just frustrating and time consuming. So this was big no-no. So that was my actually inspiration, because I got tired of doing this. Then I decided to get myself my eyebrows done, and I did it. And I started looking into, maybe I can just do this myself, since I do consider myself as a crafty person, and I do like to play and do anything that requires very much so preciseness in your fingers, and patient when it comes to that. So that's what kind of pushed me to doing that. Not to mention, I knew that there was no services like that offer within probably 20 miles from where I am at, and I didn't even look around before. I kind of find that out from my coworker, who also had the same struggle, and she recommended to me somebody who was doing it. And that's how I guess that idea got born. Now, going back to the life changing, yes, it is huge life changing procedure. Ladies are so much happier, they gain so much more confidence. Just imagine waking up and having already pretty face, minus that little morning puffiness. So that's definitely it's so much easier on everybody. And not to mention, it really does change the entire facial appearance. Not only changes for the better, but I would say it tremendously takes the aging away. And, I've proven that many, many times with my clients, that they, especially the older crowd, that they feel like they at least lost just 5 years out of their back. So it really just, I would say, there's nothing but benefits about it. And what it is, since you ask, so it's the semi-permanent tattoo, which lasts for quite a bit long time, and it's all depending on the skin type and the performance. And I guess there's a few factors, but generally speaking, it does last a long time, and give them that comfort and the confidence that they didn't have before. Matter of fact, I had a today client that actually came to me, and she said she had her brows tattooed 20 years ago, and all
Oh,
she
boy.
had left, it was just like this little orange two lines going across her eyebrow. I mean, I guess eye bone, I should say. And it was interesting, because I said 20 years ago, that's a very long time. I'm pretty impressed. So I'm assuming such a thing as a microblading wasn't existing, obviously, probably back then. So she must have just got a regular tattoo. And it still faded a lot, but it was enough to see that she had done something. And then she had a microblading done as well. I'm not sure how long that was ago, but I'm assuming at least probably 6, maybe 5 years. So that's what was left from it. And I guess she never really kept, maintaining, and she just kind of let it go. So she came in today with 2 orange lines above her eyes. And she left happy, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I have brows again." I'm like, "Yeah, you grew them in just as little as 2 hours." Actually, I have an entire little, very cute. I don't know if I can try to see, but the
Beautiful.
types, as far as like the hair stroke, the powder, the ombre, the boat combo, soft combo, and so on and so forth. So, you know, when someone is doing it, obviously you can go more into depth as far as like what is recommended, what type is recommended for what type of skin or age. There might be some, large pore issues, oily skin, and many other things. But nonetheless, it's just a procedure that is done within, I guess, 3 hour window. It's really painless. And as long you don't have some contraindications for it, which there might be some medical issues involved or medications involved, prior treatments that can interfere with the healing process and the pigment retention, you get to go.
Awesome, amazing. Okay, so you went over a couple different things about the different brow types.
I know.
And who would be a good candidate? How do we know if somebody is a good candidate to be qualified for this treatment?
We always should do some kind of consultation before we get that client onto our bed. I personally, I'm sure everybody's got different ways, techniques, methods, whatnot. I personally have usually the client on the phone for good 10-15 minutes. I always make sure that they don't have any major medical issues. If they currently undergoing some treatments, obviously cancer will be one of the big ones. Then there's so many different medications that are reported that after the medications or doing people taking the medications can interfere with the pigment retention. I know some kind of thyroid medications can interfere with that. Well, I've had multiple ladies with, Synthroid, which is one of the biggest medications that can interfere. And honestly, so far, I've been getting pretty good retention. So the touch-up will always fix, the issue if there is any, kind of medically, not to say exam, but assess and find out what's going on, if they have maybe some kind of sensitivity. Some people are very sensitive. Some people are prone to some kind of allergies. Everybody's using different cosmetics as far as the pigments. But as far as the medical, yeah, just assess, just talk, interview, make sure you get a list of all the medications, some kind of, facial treatments. Some ladies like to do the Botox or fillers, and, goes from the big ones as far as the medications or procedures to the little ones like waxing. If somebody comes in and I know they just had a waxing done the night before, that's going to be also a problem because the skin is basically open and it's, you can say, injured. So, it's a very big risk for infections, and I don't want to traumatize the skin even more at this point if I know that they just had something done.
Yes, so I just wanted to add on to that a little bit more about something I learned with waxing of the brows, which kind of makes sense. So if someone had just waxed like yesterday or the day before, sometimes the pores are still a little open, and when we implant pigment, we always have to wipe the skin to clear off the area so we can see as we're working. Sometimes that pigment that we're wiping can actually go into those little pores and make little dots. So now you have your brow and then you have little dots in the area that you don't want it. The Botox, because it can change the shape of our brow structure, we always wait at least 4 weeks, because that way the Botox settles down into the skin, and then we make sure that what we're performing on them is actually placed in the right location. So you always want to work on healthy skin, not compromised skin. I had a client that came in and she went to her hairdresser and she had a burn over her brows. The hairdresser put that hot like blow dryer that you sit under with that cap over her head for too long and pushed it down, and apparently she had this crazy burn over her brows. And I said to her, "I'm sorry, I cannot work on you. Your skin is compromised. You have to let that burn heal." And she started to shed tears. I said to her, "Look, I ended up doing it for her that day, and I said, I don't think anything's gonna hold up," which is exactly what happened. It didn't hold because her skin had to heal. and she was a nurse, and she told me she knows exactly how burns heal and all that, but she denied the fact that it had anything to do with that. So I also wanted to just ask you, because I know you have a medical background, and I don't think you spoke much about that. So can you tell us a little bit about where your medical background is and how you bring that knowledge over to permanent makeup?
So I am on a daily basis a paramedic for the county that I live, and I think it does help me a lot, just because I have a pretty good idea about the medications, how the medications work. What kind of side effects may be giving them, allergic reactions, what can happen potentially doing, or so it's kind of nice to just have a solid idea about so many issues that can come, so many things involved. So I think having my background and an idea what can happen or what could cause what, it just makes it a little bit easier on me.
How come now you chose to do that after all these years working as a paramedic, which I know that you also have a passion for, and what made that shift?
I'm still working. I'm still working. I did not quit my job just yet. And what made the passion? Just because I always had a passion for the beauty industry. Always. I've always did my own nails. I've always been, using makeup. I think almost even sneaking as a teenager when I wasn't allowed to have a makeup yet, and I was sneaking, little mascara and something to school. And when I got to school, I did it, anyway. I think a little bit of, all, like I mentioned before, the fact that it's still relatively new to so many people. I guess maybe because I'm living in such a country and people are like, what's microblading? Like they just don't have any idea what this whole thing is about. And not being in a place where people are so familiar, not having many places around where you can, get that done. It's a little bit of everything, honestly, from the passion to just the opportunity, to start functioning as a microblading person, as a PMU artist, and feeling like this is something I could do. Like I think I'm gonna be good at it, and if I grow and if I work hard, meaning practicing and getting more training and catching every bird by the tail, I can actually make that, out of this I can make something. Yes, I do have a passion for both. However, I think most people know that my job is not an easy job, and my job is burning me every day. I work long 24-hour shifts, which are more than exhausting. And sometimes I come home and I just die in bed for 7 hours at the time, because I just have to recoup and recover. When you don't sleep for 28 or 29 straight or more, then it's easier to understand. So it's very demanding on the body. It's very demanding on your sanity, your mental side, because we do get to see a lot of physical trauma, but mental trauma as well. And we're dealing with, so many tragic events on a daily basis. So it can eventually caught up to you. It can eventually, let you know that your body and your mental side just need a little break. It's definitely a security job, because that's one out of not many jobs that you can tell it will never go away, because people will always need 911. So that is, I guess, one positive. But I will continue doing it, definitely. I just, I'm thinking PMU was maybe one of the opportunities that I could consider as of switching to, and doing my paramedic on the side, because I did invest to that job a lot of my life. It was, a long training. It was a lot of stress, a lot of tears, a lot of sleepless nights, not to mention the money. And, and I wouldn't want to just lose it all or just let it go of it. But maybe if I can just, slow down and not to be forced to work my 24 hours and do this as I pleased, like a part-time, or even voluntarily as I do currently as well. So I think that would be helpful. That would be definitely
Wow.
life changing.
Well, that is amazing. Thank you for your hard work and your service as a paramedic, because I'm
Thank
sure
you.
it's not easy and I cannot even relate to that. And I'm welcome to our permanent makeup world, which I absolutely love, and just making that shift. And I'm curious how you became interested in it, because you said you lived in a very country area, which I also wanted to ask you to expand about permanent makeup in the area that you live in.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, actually, I had a coworker who was going through the same struggles as far as not having brows, and have tried to make them every morning. And she was actually coming at the time as a student. She was my paramedic student. That's how we met, and we actually became really good friends. And she actually now works for us as well. So she's on my shift, which is very, very cool thing. And she recommended to me a girl who was, probably about 45 minutes away from my location. And I said, well, you go first. I said, since you already made up your mind, I said, you go first and I will see how she does. And then I will go myself. And that's exactly what happened. She got hers done, and then I got to see her, and I was like, okay, after she did hers, I jumped on it. I got the information for this lady, and then I start asking her questions just to be nosy, like, hey, how hard is to do this? Like, what kind of training? And she was not very to nicely say talkative. I guess she didn't want to have any competitions.
Right.
So she didn't really answer that many questions. And then I just kind of let her go for a while. And then I started looking into that even more. I guess I skipped the part, maybe not very important, but to just add on to this is that the fact that I'm from Europe myself, and in Europe, microblading has been for a lot longer, and this whole industry is very popular. And I would say probably 90% of ladies walking on the street had their brows done, at the least their brows.
Wow.
But me being here and kind of disconnected, but I'm still always, I still always had an interest in this industry, not so much specifically the PMU, but just like beauty industry in general. I would always watch some videos like how to improve the makeup skill, how to lift the saggy eyelids, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into that.
Wow, awesome. So you decided, after you had your brows done, you decided to look into training?
Yes, I started looking. It wasn't happening right away because, I'm a typical areas. So I have a lot of ideas, and I always, not always fall through everything right away. But it was just, that little baby in my brain that it was kind of born, like maybe it was that question mark floating. And then I think I started seeing more online, and then I started doing some research. I looked because I didn't want to go very far for the training. And I know, as well as you do and everybody else who are in this industry, that they do offer so many trainings, variety of from so many different places. So it was kind of hard to find a legit that I would say, okay, after I'm done with the training, like I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be, you know, ready to go. And sadly to say, there are some people that should not be providing those trainings the way they just
Right.
do.
Well, there's a lot of more also committed, ethical people as well that I've had the privilege of meeting, that I hope to bring on to our podcast as well, that just really want to offer knowledge. And I think you are one of those people. That there are definitely some that are just, money driven. When I got into the industry, I didn't even know there was money. I'll go into that another time. But I would also like to know more about where you live and the location in the area demographically. How do you attract clients?
So I am between Philly and Baltimore. I'm approximately 45 minutes from both of those cities. So I'm like kind of in the middle, and as I said, I'm on the very much so countryside. There's a lot of fields that are surrounding me, and a lot of farms. I Since I am pretty new and obviously still learning how to grow and trying to grow on a daily basis with this. So currently I do not have the website just yet. I do have a Facebook account, Facebook page, and an Instagram as well.
Okay, would you like to share those with us?
Sure. So Facebook and Instagram, it's definicja, which is a Polish word. And as everybody can probably figure that out easily, it just stands for definition, by Magdalena.
Can you spell that for us as well for people that may be listening and
I
might not know?
It's a very long word, so let me write that down so I can spell that exactly how it is.
Sure.
So it's DEFINICJA. By, I don't have to spell that, and then there's my name. It's Magdalena.
Great, that's wonderful. And Facebook as well, would that be under the same name, or was it better to follow you on
So
Instagram?
my Facebook, it's under Magdalena Stewart, but I do have a page, and the page is the same name as the Instagram. Yes.
So anyone who wants to contact you, reach out to you, even if they live in your area, be best to reach you through the Instagram right now.
Probably Facebook or Instagram, both. So far, again, I'm so new at this. I wouldn't say every single one of those clients were basically worked, by mouth, from mouth to mouth, from one person to another, from kind ladies that they left so happy and they made a post on Facebook, and the post just blow up. And I've had, clients, like one day I think I had 4 ladies contacting me right after my client made the post, and they saw her post and they start bombarding her like, hey, where did you get your brows done? And then she was attaching me, tagging me to the post, and then tagging with the info, and she was providing the contact informations, and so far that's how I've been actually gaining clients. I would love to find, more maybe advanced method of kind of advertising myself, but it's like a mixture of, I guess, me not being advanced with the technology. That's number one. And number two, I still feel like, I don't have enough confidence to go out there, all out and roaring about like, hey, just come and see me. I do function from my little studio here that I'm sitting right now, actually. It's at my house. I do not have a place somewhere else just yet. I don't think I need it right now because my little cute studio works just fine. And I've had actually even client that came as far as 3 hours away from New Jersey, close to you.
That's really good. That's really good. All right. So I know that you once mentioned to me about the Amish that are living near you. And I just wanted to throw that in there because it might be a good way for people to remember you, because I remember you as the woman who
Who is surrounded
lives
by
by the Amish town, which probably you don't want like that. But right. And people are very curious about Amish because it's unknown to most of us. And I don't believe they'll be getting permanent makeup. So what can you tell us about just living in that town and how that is for you?
Well, I can promise you that I will never gain any clients from Amish people. No, that's not happening. And yes, we do have lots of them. Lots of them. So they definitely different. They, as you probably do know this much, that they very different culture, and they very traditional. Some more, some less. And I do love living in a country. It was always my dream. I came from big city when I was living in Poland. I actually live in the city, and I didn't appreciate so much. And I guess that also changes with the age and lifestyle, because once you are, single and wild and young, and you want to meet up with your friends and go places and party and just kind of discover the world, that's different story, and probably that would work for me then. Now when I'm kind of just settled in my nest, and I have my own family, and I'm getting older, and I I have a very wild job. Speaking of my first full-time job, that settings where I am surrounded by wooden side, and Amish, and nothing else. It just absolutely, it's my dream come true, just because it gave me the peace that I needed. I do need it after when I get off my 24-hour shift. I do not want to interact with people as much.
Well, that's
So
so nice that you get to help us and that you're a modern woman in the countryside doing permanent makeup, which is probably maybe unheard of to some people. So that's really, really great. And if anyone that lives in your area or the surrounding neighborhoods, it got a little bit cut off before when I asked you the name of the city. So can you just repeat that again, of the actual city where you are located and what surrounding areas you serve?
So I am located, it's actually a very small town, kind of historic. It's Rising Sun in Maryland. And I am between, I guess, it's Cecil County. And then next to us, it's Harford County, which is a little bit bigger, more famous, I would say. Um, and then I am only 45 minutes from Baltimore and 45 minutes from Philly. So I'm right in between. It's kind of funny because we are in the triangle where I am literally 5 minutes from Pennsylvania, and I am maybe 15 minutes from Delaware. So I am pretty much very close to all the surrounding states. So it's a good spot.
Yes. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up about one thing, one message they want to give over to the world? It does not have to be permanent makeup related, just something that you feel is important, something that is unique that you want to share.
Definitely. So I was just actually listening a very interesting podcast, which was in Polish. So I didn't likely have to translate because I do speak well myself, and it was very interesting learning facts about how people can either set their life the way they want it and be successful, or the other way around, so basically be very unsuccessful. And it was very interesting thing that he mentioned, how our brain is like almost like a magnetic device. And all I can say is that I've proven so many times to not only myself but to everybody around that if there's anything that you want and you desire, um, it's only up to you. And if you have goals and you have a dreams, there's no stopping anybody. So whatever you're dreaming of doing, whether you are young and you haven't decided which direction you want to go in life, or you older and you want to change directions like me, or anything really, it's just it's the effort, it's the hard work. There is no such a thing as success without working hard. And nothing is really impossible. Again, the only thing I would say I learned the hard way, it's never say never, because you just never know, and life always throw at us surprises. But overall, if you have something in your head and you want to go for it, I would say nothing should be stopping you. Anything that you want to do, the only thing can stop you is yourself.
That's a beautiful message, and thank you. So this is Maggie Stewart.
I want to add on to really quick to that name, because I kind of skipped that part. So anything, whether it's Instagram or the Facebook, so it's Definitia_by_Magdalena. That's the Instagram anyway.
Okay, perfect. So when I repost this, I can try to put that in the notes. And to sign off, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, you as well. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.